Yengi family, Kiambo Kimna nZambi Amazulu, Kim Fumukyako Isa, Bayet and Kosi, Tata nZambi and Pungu Talendo, Luvuvamo, Yala. Um, Coming for you with another message. I bid greetings to all of you, Bantu people scattered across the earth. A big greetings to all those who non-Bantus who are reading into this. Santisana, We Nusiemi, Kambutekieno. That's as I'm bringing, I just got finished. I haven't finished watching it completely, but I was watching the relationship they were showing between Malcolm and Muhammad Ali. And I listened to a comment that Malcolm once made. He said, "How can so few white people control so many black people?" And I'm going to get into that because the biggest deception that has been placed upon this earth is what is really a family feud that's going on between two brothers in the spirit world that is carrying out onto this earth, and what is going on with those who are the enemies of Tata nZambi or the Most High versus those who pretend to be his ally, with those who are the real allies of the Most High. And of course, the front is by those who fake to be the ally but are deceiving. So, the world doesn't understand that they are actually dealing with the bloodlines of two different groups, of which this is why it was so important to kind of depict Esau as the white man, because it's actually that the world is affiliated with two family groups, but with just different mothers, and that's why you have the variations in looks at this time. But of course, the spirit of the harlot is very strong. I first want to give honor to Tata nZambi and Pungu Talendo, Kiambona Tata nZambi, all praises to him, honoring Kuswa Kongo, the Mwana Velila, the 24 elders, the 12 tribes of Isolele, righteous, of those who are righteous, honor them who came through, our ancestors, honoring all those who came righteously through Adama, the bloodline as well. And want to give thanks to the Most High, Motonda Masakajila, for the ability to sit here today and speak. Because, with all this going on, there's many things happening. And, as I look at what's going on, even in this awakening, it goes back to what I witnessed in all religions, where we're trying to get the people to understand that there's still this feuding problem that we have. And I want to get to the bottom of it a little bit, because, I've talked about this a little bit in some in the past, but I really don't think a lot of people really comprehend, part of the reason that much of people's intellect isn't where it should be is the conditioning mindset to forget what happened, or to not dwell on the past, is what they always tell you to do, but look forward to the future. Well, we always want to, remember the things that we've done to help us become stronger. But the issue is that when it's being used to control how you think, that's a problem. When you see that, especially now with one of the reasons why in education that I feel this is happening is because they're trying to erase the mindset of what is the real issue because of those who control this earth understand that more people are waking up to the reality, so they don't want this in the classroom because you might wake up even more, and that's part of the problem. Because if people begin to see the reality of certain things from a certain perspective, you'll begin to comprehend that a lot of what's going on in the world that you have been caused to believe in is false. Very sorry, excuse me. The biggest issue is the world doesn't realize it comes down to two family groupings that are causing a whole lot of problems because of decisions that have been made over the generations of time. Okay. So I'm gonna actually first of all start with Romans 9:13. As it is written, I'm gonna put Yakubi, because this is the name that was given to him by his brother, by the way. This joker caused him to be called this. Have I loved, but Esau have I hated. So the hatred of Esau has caused many problems for his brother. That is part of this family feud that the world is experiencing today. Okay. This one here has taken on the spirits that have been affiliated with everything that is evil in his passing, especially the worship of the Tubal and Jubal Cain spirits that should never have been worshipped through satanic ways, that caused a lot of chaos among many of the seed of Cain, to cause the things that happened in the world prior to the flood as well, and essentially cause where certain spirits would become deified as godheads that would create a lot of issues for the children of Isolele. So it starts off with this feud, but there was a feud going on prior to that. You know, there was hatred of the bloodline of Kama, Ham, and Japheth's offspring against the favoritism that Tata nZambi was showing to the descendants of nZambi, Shem, that resulted in bloodshed and wars. And it just goes to show you, we're going to talk about it, where envy and strife, and when you envy or you have jealousy, it can result in the loss of people's lives, going all the way back to that spirit of Cain, who was jealous of his brother Seta, and then he killed him for it. Okay, because of the Most High's favor. Excuse me. Sorry. So one of the things that this world is not aware of, because of the conditioning that has been put in place that has been always meant to hide this factor, is that there's a family feud because Esau's bloodline is now includes many different races. What you really refer to as the Illuminati families, or whatever family you want to call them, represent these connections, of which the bloodline that's connected to Nimrod has become affiliated with and assisting in causing the destruction, especially the seed of Abraham, the seed of Shem and Sami, but specifically and also the one that is the Most High's favorite above all nations, which was why it talks about in Psalms 83 to cut them off from being a nation. Okay. This is why you have so many now imposters trying to claim the heritage of Yakubi, of Isolele, including through the belief of a religion that has said by adopting you are in, and the replacement theology that has been taught. Now, the spirit behind many of the religions that cause Yakubi to sin against the Most High, Tata nZambi, for so many generations, especially these last 2,000 years, when you have now the formation of different religions, is the spirit of Esau, which was also affiliated with Simon the sorcerer, Tammuz, all these different things. Okay, now the one thing that we understand about the wicked side of things is that there's no love lost for their own. There's, there to them, you're just whatever they have in mind for you. You become a pawn. You become collateral damage. You become, whatever it is that they needed to accomplish as the Most High continued to cause kingdoms to rise and fall, with the intention of everything was to keep the Bana Betu from becoming a nation that could once again dominate the world. Sorry, and bring forth the true creator and what he really represents, because the fallen ones had created the illusion for so long as they began to change images and began to change things of what is the creator to us, who is the creator to us. Suninu Nanin, I am that I am. So just to give a prime example, one of the greatest deceptions that Esau has done to Yakubi is to embrace this concept of idolatry that the Most High discouraged greatly. And I'm not just talking about idolatry of statues and other things and man-made designs, but also people. So one of the greatest things that we've always heard about is when you found someone or you know someone that has been able to demonstrate great power in the way they influence the lives of others and can do many different things that others cannot. It has always been the issue, especially for the children of Isolele, to want to idolize and uplift individuals higher than Tata nZambi or the Most High, or to put them in place of. Okay. And what this does is when people then begin to speak negatively of certain things, it causes people to react in ways that are more carnal than spiritual. Okay. For example, we look at the way, and this just goes to show you how you can tell what God you truly follow when you look at the anger that was demonstrated by many people when you had the split between Malcolm X and Elijah Muhammad, okay, in the Nation of Islam. And see, here's where Satan plays his role in many ways to cause destruction upon those who know who they really are, but embrace a belief that is not truly coming from the Most High, because the Messiah, Hamashiach, Yesaya, Kristu, Jesus, Jesus, that's your point. He always put the emphasis on the Father, which is why he said, I came in the name of the Father, but you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you shall receive. And this is exactly what he was referring to when you see the history of Bantu people over the generations up on even till now, that when you've been made to believe something that demonstrates some form of power without checking where that source of power really comes from, because like it says, Satan likes to masquerade as an angel of light, and he can do that for anyone's belief. Okay, this is where you run into the issue of when brother turns against brother, because you have idolized the creation more than the creator, just because they have done something. Okay, if you want to get a good answer of what I'm saying, Isaiah even said, your belief in me will make you like me, or even you will even do things greater than me. So he was actually lowering himself for those that would come in the future, as far as their significance and comparison, but as them being more like a brother to him or a sister to him, or someone who is, truly adopted of the Most High, that their role would be to idolize the Father more so than the Son, because then they would do things like him or greater. Okay. And this has always been the issue that Bana Betu continue to run into, or that children of Isolele, or especially the black, they want to call them the black man, Negroes, has always been. Because see, not everybody that's black on this continent is the same. That's the biggest lie of Satan. There are many who are connected to the brotherhood of Esau. And they know this because it's one family that uses the pawns of they use the pawns of their people to manipulate the knowledge and the wisdom and the understanding of what's really going on in this world today. And this is why when things begin to happen that don't make sense or seem to be going out of chaos, out of control, it goes back to the concept of idolizing, of lifting people up on pedestals, of creating this mindset that because someone is coming with wisdom and knowledge and has helped your life to change and has made you a better person, you always want to put that on the emphasis on the man who was responsible versus the power behind the man that did it. And this is what Esau, or the spirit of Esau, or the spirit of the false Messiah, or the spirit of the fallen ones have always used against the ones who really can make the changes in this world. This is why our unification is a big problem to those in power. Okay. So the family feud goes where you have those who are under the spell of the false Messiah through the spirit of Esau that is working to create this confusion. Okay. So that his brother's offspring also continue to stay in confusion, especially as he was able to instrumental in bringing down the kingdom of Congo with those who were affiliated with him. Okay. So when we look at that, this is exactly because this entity now we know as Esau, which he becomes hated by the Most High, then his role is to do whatever is necessary to make sure that the Most High does not love Yakubi. And this has been the plot when you talk about what happened here. For Esau is the end of the world, and Yakubi is the beginning of it that followeth. So Esau and now has aligned himself with the fallen ones, Shaitani, and his job is, as he knows this world of his that has been constructed through deception of many, through the families that are connected, okay, whether they know it or not, through him, the Edomites, Edom, because Edom was saved by absorbing the other nations that were, in this world. I mean, even the Chinese, like Genghis Khan and all this other stuff, are still affiliated with the spirit of Esau, whether they know it or not. Okay, that's what has resulted in many, because we know, because the devil is a murderer, his job is to continue to put people in hierarchies based upon where he sees fit, where you sit in the family tree. So there are those who are always going to have a much different or higher perspective than others. Like when I hear, like one of the biggest deceptions is like what happened in the case of the Canaanites, which we know that their curse was many of them would become white, not black, which is why it was encouraged to make them believe that the curse of Noka was to become black, not white, instead of white, not black. Okay, because as the philosophy was to create this concept that the non-melanated black people who became modified would become the dominant race, that those who were melanated would become the lower race, which is intention, which was part of it. And the control factor results in causing people to turn on one another. So one of the greatest plot as Esau has been, and one of the things that uh, Satan has used to deceive the whole world, is to cause people to turn on one another so as to keep confusion and keep the unity that allows for those who stay in power to continue to manipulate those, even though you use powerful words and strong words and ways to, empower people. The reality is, at the end of the day, nothing has changed until this truth has started to come out. No matter what, there has been different shifts, but the biggest shift has started to happen as the Bakongo or the Bana Betu have now begun to speak out, and the different people who know certain secrets about what really is the truth and what has been something that has been modified so that you don't see the reality of what it is. Okay. The biggest delusion of the wicked ones is the Most High, Tata nZambi, the creator, is not a god of a religion. Never was, never will be. Okay. He never instructed his people to create religions with different names: follower of Christ, Christian, Judaism, who follow the old ways, who follow so-called the Torah of Moses, or Allah, Islam, or Buddha, or all these different things, especially but basically the main three that were using gospel or scriptures affiliated with the real true followers of the Most High that he anointed through Abana and Saka, Yakubi, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to be the caretakers of this earth in spirit and in truth. Okay, so the intention of the brotherhood affiliated in the family of those connected with Esau spirit was to make sure that Yakubi would become hated and that Esau would actually become loved by the world, which is why people idolize many of those are connected to his spirit and connected to the false Messiah spirit. Okay. So that is the whole concept when we say the world was flipped upside down, because Yakubi would become hated Okay, despite the fact you have those who claim to be, and then of course you have many people claiming to be that the true Yakubi would become hated by the world and even hate himself, and and that the false Yakubi would be loved or would be in control with power, and that the false Yakubi, Isolele, or the false chosen people would be in a position of power. Okay. So how is this even possible that this actually was something that could happen? And it starts with a decision that was made to go against the creator himself by those who were given the opportunity to be in the position to be the caretakers of this earth. Even as far back as the renewed covenant that took place 100 and some odd years before uh, the Portuguese uh, came and destroyed the kingdom of Congo through deception. Okay, so when we go to it, let's talk about what was done. The way you cause Yakubi or Isolele, especially many of the descendants of the Most High, to become led astray is the spirit of envy. You know, as we know the story, many of us are aware of, you know, the Tata nZambi, the creator gives certain people gifts while others don't get the same gift. They might get something else, or they might have different abilities, or they might not always receive the secrets that allow people to really wield the true power. And this is something that even caused issues when you talk about what happened with Simon the sorcerer and the other disciples, Abafundi. When you look at what transpired in ancient history, the envy of Abana is what was the demise of Nimrod, because the Most High now favored Abraham or Abana over uh, Nimrod, who he had turned aside and turned his back on. That was a problem that has continuously been the plague of this land. Now, had Isolele remained the righteous nation it was supposed to be, then a lot of this stuff we're talking about would have never come to pass. Because eventually the Most High would have lifted us up, and we would have shown the world whose example should have been followed versus those who were trying to steal that power through the assembly of Laodicea that was being manipulated as a control portion of religion and not truly being in spirit and in truth. And that was the intent of the spirit of Esau against his brother, to use the allies of him as those who were against the Most High to manipulate the truth so that the world would believe the lies and not the real truth. Okay. So what you have witnessed is when you can get people motivated to do certain things in the way that you want them to do them, it can even cause animosity among those who need to be the ones that should be where they're supposed to be. And part of that has to do with identity crisis. Identity of who people are in this world plays a huge role in how you can manipulate what people know by changing people's titles to different, you know, uh, descendants. It erases the impact of who each people are, so that you don't get the concept that it's really one family battling one group, but is being used for sacrifices to maintain um, that control over these other groups. Okay. So and that's by using lying signs and wonders, that's by using, manipulation, that's by teaching people things that may seem okay, but are really designed to cause, but are really powers that are working the opposite, all because of how you interpret those who are good versus evil, and how you can have the false good with the real evil versus the real good, and the real good that's trying to conquer the real evil. Now, what does that mean exactly? It means you let very few people control the masses, but you make the masses feel like they have control over certain things, unless your intent is to become a dictator, which in many cases is designed to specifically cause people to be subjugated to the intention of what needs to happen. Okay. And this is where many spirits play their role that many people won't necessarily see unless you can see in both worlds. Excuse me. The way the way people can be manipulated into different concepts or beliefs. So now, when we look at, sorry, this whole construct of suffering versus those who don't suffer, versus those who are well off versus those who struggle, okay? It's all about buying into, as much as possible, the understanding of the system that you accept, to accept the roles that you're supposed to be a part of. And of course, your level of how much acceptance or how much you buy into places you in your specific category. For example, one of the characteristics to help destroy Yakubi is to focus on those that are driven to become something that they will do whatever it takes to get it. So you provide the opportunity as long as they meet the criteria. And where you create the animosity is when you have others that also do the same, but you choose the ones you favor. But then if they think in their minds they should have gotten it and not them, it creates strife. Okay. This is the whole concept behind what they call specifically a rat race. Put all of these, create a world where people are trying to achieve something that really doesn't mean anything in the eyes of the creator, but make them believe that it does. This is the concept of what we call manipulating the interpretation of your reality. Okay. So by creating a reality that many believe is what it should be versus what it's supposed to be, you can then cause people to do things and cause people to interact and do things that, realistically speaking, has no significant bearing on their ability to get closer to the spiritual creation or creator, and gives people a false understanding of what this world really is intended for. Okay. And this is why, the group of people that were supposed to be a part of this, it was important for, like in by Martyrs Redemption, a lot of the things that are happening has to be to fulfill the scriptures. Well, yes, the scriptures must be fulfilled, which is true. And this is what plays a role into why certain things happen that many people don't understand. You see, because where your ancestry falls in this world, this is why it plays a big role, determines your hierarchy in the system, or in the the true nature, the true creation. Okay. So that's why, realistically speaking, being born a Bantu Benduela or being Bantu was supposed to be a blessing, but was made to be a curse because of the condition of which many people came into. But yet, there were many who wanted to be a part of that culture, but reject their own in some ways, but still hang on to traditions and customs of what they know, yet maintain the understanding that the true wealth and riches comes from those who have been sent into a captivity because of their disobedience. So you have those who say, we're taking advantage of a group of people and causing them harm and strife and playing with their emotions and doing all the different things and intimidating and scaring them, because the intent is to maintain and the advantage over those who don't have any knowledge, or who remain in ignorance of the true knowledge, or those who think they have knowledge or wisdom. You want to keep those people elevated above those who really should be elevated. This is when the Most High was saying, I shall make them the head and you're the tail. That is how the few, those, and it's not just white, and that's what I'm saying. It's not really just the white man that controls the black man. It's a certain group of people, okay, who are all on one accord, that there's another group of people that should never be allowed to be restored to the top. That's what it is. So you create all kind of distractions, all kind of incentives. Um, you create all kind of belief systems. You create all kind of interpretations, so that those who really would know the truth have a lack of knowledge of it, which of course plays into the role of, by being our back turned to the Tata nZambi, or the Most High Akongu, the lack of knowledge, we would then lose the knowledge of who we are ourselves. Sorry, excuse me. This being used as the incentive, and that's why you see even today, why are so many people all of a sudden being taken out of the limelight? So many events where there seems like a lot of ritual going on. You see so many people in prominent positions, things are happening to them. Well, because the more and more um, the Most High exposes things, it becomes aware more and more that you've been played by a great deception, but at the same time, to stand up against it will eventually cause you serious problems yourself. Okay, let's kind of get an example of that. Let's go. But the day of Tata nZambi will come like a thief, and then the heavens will pass away with a roar, and the heavenly bodies will be burned up and dissolved, and the earth and the works that are done on it will be exposed. So see here, as the Most High day approaches, okay, as the Most High shakes the heavens, the heavenly bodies, and the earth, it also says that the works that are done on it will be exposed. So it's saying that whatever people have done on this earth will all come to light, will be exposed. Well, you know, you're now seeing people trying to run and hide from this that may be around, or people who are trying to escape this. So now they're allowing others to be the scapegoat, or they have decided, you know what, mm, all I've done will be exposed. I'm not going to do it, and they're going to take that risk and let the world know, or things will happen. It can either get killed, or it can be either be put into prison, or they can, all of a sudden your name's your reputation becomes. That's why they all talk about your reputation. Why is your reputation so important? So then that way you can be used to help people to keep their mouth shut, so that your reputation doesn't be destroyed. Okay, when the Most High is when it comes to reputation, all the Most High is concerned about is, are you a person that did His work? That's all He's concerned about. That things that He called for you to do, or the things that He wanted you to accomplish, in the true understanding of what that means. Okay, and that's why I actually wanted to pull up. Hold on a sec. Let me check something. I'll be right back. Okay, thank you. One sec. All right, so we go back to this, the for the family Dibuta on Kikongo. So when you look at what is going on in this earth today, there are those that are meant to look like they have family or Dibuta, but really what they are doing is the opposite. What they're doing is to create a dysfunctional Dibuta. Because see, sadly, when it comes to those who work under the dragon, there's no unity. It's just all about fear is what they operate under of the top dragon. That anytime he chooses to get rid of you, or anytime he chooses to expose you, or anytime he chooses to cause you to die or something to happen, okay, you will be expendable to him. He'll just find the next person, or he'll bring a spirit back, whatever he wants to do to create his deception. Now we know that the zombies, he has limits on what he can do, because the Most High is always in control. But this is not something that will ever be known truly from the dragon side, unless people like us continue to expose that. There's only so much he can do. You're seeing him as your God, either consciously or subconsciously. Because one of the things that I was discussing with today, you know, when people sit here and they listen to us talk and they say, well, in Christianity, there's people who are nice, there's people who are loving, there's people who do a lot of good things for people. I don't see how you can say that these people could be affiliated with Satan if that were true. Well, my response to that is this. There were people who acted nice and loving in the kingdom of Egypt. There were people who acted nice and loving in the kingdom of Rome, in the kingdom of Greece, in the kingdom of Babylon. There were even Uzziah said this. He said the heathens love their family, even and they still hate their enemies. He said, don't even the heathens do this. Why he said for us as Bantu people to love, and it was really addressed to the Bana Betu to love our enemies first, because he was talking to children of Isolele. Wasn't talking to the Gentiles. This is the deception at the time. Okay, but the Gentiles have tried to incorporate this to make you think that he was talking specifically about them as well. No, he wanted his own people to learn to love their enemies because they were one family, one flesh, because we all were descendants of Yakubi and we were acting like we were enemies of each other. And this is what was causing our problems to kill the prophets and kill, you know, many of and destroy the innocents, because we took on that hate your enemy concept mindset of the Gentiles, because this is what they are. They love their friends and family, but they'll go against their enemies. And that's exactly what you see what's happening in the world is, okay, you have the people who say, oh, we're supposed to be a Christianized nation, but you hate China. You hate the Soviet Union. And the sad part about it is the Soviet Union got more Christians than America, by the way. True facts. And that's what people don't understand, you know. And that's the harsh reality of the deception of how you can be led into different belief understandings. So it goes back to the hypocritical side of your leaders who claim to be representing, you know, the truth, but say, oh, but we must defend the nation. But the so-called Messiah that is, okay, so you got Joe Biden who says, I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ. Well, Jesus Christ said to love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Is that what you're doing with Russia? Do you see how the system is manipulating the concept? Okay. Your own leaders, and see the problem is that, and this is the even more messed up thing. The Putin and Biden and Russia and America are not even really enemies in the closed doors. This is just for the show of the sheep. Okay. They are still part of their own, they're still part of the brotherhood of their own, of the one family that is the family of Esau's spirit, or the false Messiah spirit, really, and the worship of Baal, the son of, it's like I said, it's the son of Lamech, stupidness, one of his sons, you know. And this is why when we look at how you can be conditioned into something that isn't true, again, we worship, and our own people are guilty of this even to this day, even now, even though you've been tricked into it, the worship of Lamech's son as a god. Do you see how we can be coerced into something and you don't even know what it is? And you made statues to it, and you prayed to it, and you made sacrifices to it, and it's not even real. It's all false. And this is the intention of why you look at what we're coming into with this season. Again, that same manipulation, you know. Oh, because because it's been taught for 2,000 plus years in the way that you've learned it, it must be the way it's supposed to be. It must be true. And I can't see how there are those who would lie to me that I trust. Well, that's the whole concept. The family feud of Esau and Yakubi only works. Okay. It's a picture. it only works if you get the people to trust it. Okay. So now let's look at this word here, because this is going to be a very important factor coming, because it started already. Nzala of the word, okay. So this is very good that it actually showed up right here. This is exactly what I was going to talk about right here. Now, of course, it says Kimfumu ya nZambi, God's kingdom. This is really how you say it in Kikongo. Tamanisa Batumba Maladi Nzala Mpe Lufa. Okay, now remember I talked about Mpe means mishap or bad things that will happen. This is where you get the word evil from. You see, it doesn't say evil over here, but this is where the word evil is derived from. Okay, that they say the Most High brings evil. So the Unzala, so like I said, it's saying here, when the Most High kingdom is finally arrived, you will not have any more war, sickness, famine, or even death itself. However, those who contributed to these things will not be in his kingdom. This is the deception. If you contributed to wars, sickness, famine, and death, how can the Most High see you in the right in his light? Okay. This even talks about here where it says, the one still sitting in this city will die by the sword and by the famine and by the pestilence. But the one who is going out, who actually falls away to the Chaldeans who are laying siege against you, will keep living, and his soul will certainly come to be as a spoil. Okay, we talked about this war. This is happening again, people. The days of the Chaldeans. Okay, this is where you are. And they are far, and they're a part. The Chaldeans, the reason for they don't exist. No, they've been absorbed into Edom. They are Esau. This is why. You know, you want to know one of the main reasons why you have an issue with the so-called Israel, with the Palestinians, and the hatred that goes about it. People don't even realize it's because the leaders of both sides know they are the same family. And what they're doing is worship or sacrifice or pawn, or they're giving sacrifice to the one God they know they serve in the form of a war, in the form of pestilence, in the form of famine, in the sword. Okay. But they can't tell you, the rest of the world, oh, this is why we're doing this. You see, but that if you go and you cause to question, okay, then you're questioning the chosen people's choice to do what they are supposed to do, because they run this world. And it's like, wait a minute. But this is the problem. It goes against what the Most High is saying. His kingdom will be the end of what many of these people are causing. So how can then they be the same people? That's the issue. Okay. But yet the world, once again, with Esau's spirit, is meant to believe something that really isn't true. But still, because of the influence of what you've been told and conditioned to know, this is why you go along with it. And see, here's the part that many people are learning religion or scripture from the same people who actually hate the real people who are part of it in secret, who have even admitted that they are not the people in secret, but will not say it in public. For those who know, they even will tell you Did they hate certain other people nations? The only reason why they're now coming together in the one world religion is because the one who would bring them together is here. Okay. Which is going to be the biggest deception as they're going to bring out for Christianity, because how can you accept something called Chrislam if you're supposed to be separated, if you're supposed to be following the Messiah? And that will be what causes many people to realize when the delusion comes that that the Messiah did not call his true followers after that title, because he didn't even call himself Christ. This is a title that was given to him through the Greco-Roman interpretation of how they chose to believe his anointed, when it says he's anointed. That's why he even says, this is going to blow you away. He asked the disciple, the Abafundi, who do they say that I am? Some say you're Elijah the prophet. Some say you're John the Baptist, come back. He said, don't tell them who I am. Well, if he's saying to them, don't say who I am, then where does the name Christ come from? You see, that in itself is the secret. Because the disciples were not supposed to reveal who he was, only to those who are in the secrets. Okay. Only those who truly receive power and knowledge of it, okay, would know who he was. Just like when in the situation, when you talk about the Tokuist church and the people who followed Mayamona, okay, and unfortunately them who idolized him, part of the problem as well, that they came and asked him who he was. He didn't say, oh, I'm so-and-so. He didn't even say who he was. Okay. Now think about that. But yet everybody that follows somebody in this day and age are always trumpeting who they are. Trumpeting who they are. Oh, you must recognize me as the Pope. You must recognize the Prophet Muhammad. Okay. This is the issue. Yesiah never wanted to be recognized other than by what he taught in his works. That's why we called him, when we said Yesiah Kongo, the one who comes in the name of truth saves. But who was he really? Okay. His name that was given was based off of his action. That really wasn't his. And the hint, that clue says, I came in my father's name, of what people don't understand. That's the problem here. And we refer to the Most High as Kongo, or Tata nZambi, or Yambe, but Kongo was the way we refer to truth, the belt of truth. That's what we were Bena Kongo. And of course, Yahweh, or Yah, or Yah Kongo, was the name, okay, we referred to. But Yah just meant the Most High. That's really not a name. But we called this name, okay, Sonini Nanini, of course, I am that I am. Yahweh, salvation, really, or the way, or the Most High's way, I should say. The King of King Tinu Valentino. Now, no scripture will always emphasize the name, Okay, and I know people talk about that. And it says the people who were called by his name. This is why we called ourselves Bana Congo, nZambi, Bana Congo, nYambi, nZambi, uh, Benan Benayuda, because of the fact that we came of that tribe, many of us the fourth, and Isolele, Isaela. But the true followers of we call them the people of the way, the Benakongo, the sons of truth, the sons and daughters of truth. Okay. Well, what we find today is, I'm not going to hopefully be too much longer on this because I know there's a lot of people absorbing. I'm going to have a lot of videos kept up on myself. Is that many people claim, have always laid the claim that we are speaking the truth. But there's a name that has always been affiliated with that word that they don't talk to you about. Let's just see what they say the word truth means and see if they're going to tell you this is how they hide it. See, now look what they say. And this is how you know they like to hide things from even you. Kialeka is the word that they're using for their way they want to show you what the word Congo means. But there's another word, it's Congo, it's true. So they'll say when he then enlarged on the basic truth by saying that the dead can neither love nor hate, and that there is no work for planning nor knowledge nor wisdom in the grave. Okay, remember this when I think Paula was talking about this. Okay, even Isaiah was referring to the same thing. But it says Yandi Landaka na Kutendula Kielaka Yinan Tangu. But the other word that can go here is Congo. Kutendula Congo Yinan Tangu Yandi Tubaka and the Bafwalende Zola Ve. Okay, that's significant to understanding the hidden why they try to keep people away. Okay, because it also means belt. Okay, or the center. So let's see what I'm gonna look up those words and we'll see what they say. Boke yindulaka mpi veunde bofuete bakisa Biblia mbote kuluta bantu yaunkaka. And they do not feel that they can understand Bible truth more deeply than anyone else. Okay, that's basically what's going on with the world today. We are the ones, the Bantu, the people who understand the truth really are us. All right, so let's look at the word belt. Mukaba. Now, now let's think about that. The word, what the Muslims go around in a circle of is called the Kaaba stone. Okay, so the Mukaba is affiliated also with the belt or the center or the Congo. Okay. Now let's look at the word center. Okay, so now they're going to use this version of the Kikongo Kati Kati. So Inki Mambu Polo. It's funny how this word is on. Inki means on, which I don't know if that's affiliated with the same with the Anunnaki, but It's probably be what it translates as for him, but Enki mambu polo tulaka ni kisika ya ntete ntangu yandi kumaka mukristu. Okay, this is the word Christian. Look at how in the Kikongo, when you talk about many of us who follow Christ, is mukristu. It's really supposed to be an L, because in the Kikongo it was it's an L, not an R. Mukristu. This word is not the same. Do you see the problem here? The followers of the anointed one, or the one of the way. And this is why we say Mukongo, the followers of truth, Mukongo. We put the Mukongo here, and that changes the whole concept. Okay, but you can see how when you go and you type in the word, let's type in the word Congo. The only way you see the mention in Banza Congo, but they won't tell you what it is. You see how that works? They won't tell you what Mbanza Congo is, but they know it's there. That's the deception of the deceiver. You see the different stems of it, but they won't tell you what it means. That's part of the deception. Now, if I go and I switch it, put, they just won't as I said, they won't tell you what the word Congo means. Why is that? Okay. Let me see if I can sneak it in here. One sec. There's a purpose for that. When I put the word Congo, word, meaning, it says, now listen to this, the etymology, after Congo, which with a K, believed to derive from the Congo and Congo or hunters. They said believed to derive. Okay, and that's part of the issue. Now, so when you type it in as the K, it says a member of an indigenous people inhabiting the region of the Congo River in West Central Africa. The Bantu language of the Congo or Kikongo. Okay. But it does not tell you specifically what the word Congo means. And this is why they try to keep it from people from understanding what it means. They said it may be derived from the word hunters, which is, I'm not saying it isn't, because our people were in fact better. We know Esau was the hunter, but we also did our part as well. But the truth, the point is that they know it means belt of truth, and that's the point. They know what it means. They're just not going to tell you what it means. And that's why we talk about when, let's go to, And this is when you go back to Matthew 24. And I guess that goes to ESV. It says, for many will come in my name saying, I am the Christ. Now, this is the problem with this translation is he didn't say this word. He said the word anointed, which is what, let's see if we can find it. Let's see if it's going to tell me. He said the anointed. And see, they're saying there is no translation, but they'll use the what you have been taught. They'll say, Balongoki ya Kristu ya kapukalu kupakulama. Let's see if I can find it. Yep. Kupakulama is what they're saying. Kingdom Yan Tikaka Ti Baklistu. Baklistu. Here we go. Another interpretation of Christians. Okay. This is why they will not tell. Let's see if we can. Let's see if it'll even say it. It probably won't even say it. See, but we know now that kuswa means anointed, and this is how you do the play on words with people. For many will come saying, I am the anointed one, or kuswa, or klistu, not Christu, not Christ, klistu. Let me see if it'll tell me. See, again, they won't even give you that word. That's how they do this. This is the game they play, people, because we know what it is. And they will lead many astray. And this is exactly what has begun to happen, because he really is saying, many will come in my name saying that I am the anointed one. And see, when you look at the history of Bantu people and the Bana Betu, how many times have we listened to someone that came falsely as the anointed? Not saying those who actually represented him in spirit and in truth and could do the things that he could do, and were showing you that they did actually represent the Most High in spirit and in truth, Tata nZambi, but the ones who came with another teaching, another doctrine, another, by claiming to be the anointed one. This is how they have caused the family feud to continue amongst our own people, because we argue more about who we are and our belief based upon what we've identified with, when none of us were even called that at all. Excuse me. Okay. And you will hear of wars of rules when there's another interpreter talks about when the translation actually means you will hear wars far off because they have gotten far away from who they are. Okay. See that you were not alarmed, for this must take place, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation. Now, this is the misconception of when Christianity. This is why many people have been caught off guard. That we're already at where we need to be, but people just don't realize it. Okay, we're at the climax of this, not the beginning of it. This is how they have taught the rapture doctrine. Oh, we're just at the beginning of nations. No, man, we're at the climax of nations against nations and kingdoms against kingdom. Now these kingdoms are coming to an end, and these nations are coming to an end. And there will be famines and earthquakes. And yes, they already have this. There's famines right now in Africa. There's famines right now But now they're going to get worse. Huge. Okay, the beginning of the birth pains is the deliverance of the new nation, the new Salama, the new Jerusalem, the new what the Malakis are bringing. This is why we try to say we cannot rebuild the old Jerusalem. This is the biggest lie, and that's why I'm trying to say this is the conflict we're having now. The Most High, if you go to the Josephus recollections of Jerusalem, the Most High himself leveled it. This is how you ended up with a desert in Zambia that used to be green. And this is why the ruins, they started to call them the Phoenician ruins, but yet why are they off limits? Why is it that you talk to people that say you can't go there, they're going to shoot you? What are they hiding? Okay, but there's a desert in the middle of where it used to be green. Why is that? Because the Most High bombarded and leveled Jerusalem. So this is why when you keep saying, "Oh, we found ruins of it here," barely any ruins. The whole thing is it's where people have not trod, and there's people trotting down all around parts of it, but the main section of it is gone. The temple is destroyed, completely leveled. So you can't go, and these people telling you, "Oh, we got a wall of it that we pray to." Man, the whole thing is gone. The wall that they're referring to, the Most High took it down. Even King Titus at the time said, we couldn't do it by ourselves. It was taken down with help. They even saw the hedge removed. That wall is gone. There's nothing, not a single portion of the temple that was built with Nehemiah is standing. Nothing of it. So the wall can't be there that they're bowing. No, Tata nZambi leveled the whole thing. That's why Isaiah said there's normally no stone on top of no, there's nothing left. It's gone. Deceivers. Okay. Then they will deliver you up to tribulation and put you to death, and you'll be hated by all nations for my sake. So he's talking to Bana Betu when he says that when the time comes for us to be delivered, okay, many of us are going through this right now. Many of us are being killed because of Isaiah Congo, Kuswa Congo, because of being Bantu. Many of us are being delivered up to tribulation where we're suffering. And this is going to intensify as this fallen Messiah comes on the scene. And it says here, you will be hated by, okay, let me say this. Let me get this very clear. The true followers of the Messiah, this is why we say it's a family feud. All these nations are under one family. This is the lie. They're all under the family connected to the spirit of Esau. They hate the followers of the true Messiah. And this is why they work so hard to bring delusion and misrepresentation and lies and false concepts, and even how you can be killed with diseases and stuff to you, because they know they want to destroy you. They don't want you to be back. That's why he's saying the real followers of the real Messiah will be, the nations will try to destroy you, not love you. All nations will work to destroy you. And they're doing it in secret because they can't tell people, no, we really hate the Bantu people. We really hate the descendants of Isolele. We really hate the descendants of Yakubi. Okay. And we're trying to destroy them. But we're doing it so that the so-called do-gooders, as they like to say, won't catch on. That's what's happening. But now the do-gooders, as they claim, are now being brought to their demise for continuing to believe something that wasn't true by beginning to participate in the paganism. But of course, they spin it so that you don't catch on to the fact that they set you up. They set up the sheeple to be brought to the slaughter. They set you up completely to be brought to the slaughter, but they hide the fact that they're taking you to the slaughter because they led you astray as a nation, as nations, as a world. This one family has led everybody astray. Okay, that's the way it is. So this is why there's so much animosity and hatred for Bantu people, for Bantu people. That's why even to be called this, to hear the word Bantu, I was talking to people and they get offended. Oh, the real Hebrews never call themselves Bantu. Well, of course they're going to say that because that name is hated among the nations. So of course you would never agree with that because they hate the Bana Congo. They hate the Bana Betu. That is why they have turned the country of Congo, and you hear about all the thievery of the millions, and they're funneling out all the resources and all the things that they're doing. See, this is how you understand. If indeed you want to claim America or China or whatever you want to call it as the original kingdom, and if you even want to call Northeast Africa, which we call Isolele, Palestine, or the place, but where are they funneling the resources of the Most High's riches that he gave to his inheritance from? Where are they coming out of? Mostly, even today, constantly under constant stripping. Okay, where are the major resources of the world coming from today that are feeding the other nations? That's the issue. And this is even one of the things that I must work on by myself, because it says, but stay awake at all times, meaning that you keep yourself, spiritually awake, mentally alert, praying that you maybe have strength to escape all these things that are going to take place and to stand before the Benamuntu. Okay. We have to realize to stand before the Benamuntu includes those of us who will judge the Malikis, including those who will stand with him as judges, just like Paula talked about. The ones he has also, see, because this is how ignorant people are. If you have been given authority, okay, then you stand as a judge. And this is where many of those who in Catholicism and of course even in this world today, they say, oh, we have that right to judge people because we have been given the authority by the Holy Spirit. But the problem is then, but the way they're passing judgment, the world's not getting better, it's getting worse. And so that tells you that obviously no one is paying attention. You don't carry the kind of power that would actually cause you to really want to change and be different in a lot of ways. Now we're saying that, of course, we know that, and of course, like I said, when you actually put yourself in this position, you will be a hated by those who run the nations and looking to you to see who you are and where do you come from and what authority are you operating under. This is what they're going to say. Because they're not operating, because they're Esau's. They know that they're the one family, they're the one family under the false deception of Cain, seed, all that you want to call it. And this is why we got to get smarter about realizing this family. This is why they're doing what they're doing now. This family is going down. And even those who are affiliated with them can see it, but they don't know how to get away from them because they're already attached. But they see more and more that the lies and the Most High is exposing more and more about them and what the things that they have done. And you even see now, Another mega pastor has now been taken out. They claim he has COVID, okay, but they won't tell you the details of it. But that's the whole point, because he spoke out about people getting vaccinated. Okay, and all of a sudden they say, he's got COVID now. See, because he wasn't vaccinated. I'm not going to get into detail because I don't want to strike or anything. But for those of us who truly understand Tata nZambi Mpungu Tulendo, the Most High, we know what has transpired here. Many who have brought false teachings. Okay, remember it says that in no marvel because Satan himself transferred and it's no consequence of his ministers will transfer into ministers of righteousness, and that they will be judged according to their works. Okay, so we're seeing a lot of these tele-evangelists and people who have been preaching another Jesus, really, in different ways, who are now going to meet their demise according to their works. And this is the reality of it, because at some point the deception has to stop. It's going to come to an end, period. Okay, so now where do we go from here? What do we do about it? What is the thing that we need to understand is the family of Yakubi, Isolele, the true Bana Betu, those who really know that they are descendants of Bana Saka Yakubi, must become Kintwari, must become a family. Even if you disagree with doctrine. See, that's the thing that all people understand. Even if you don't see eye to eye on the way you interpret scripture, okay, that doesn't mean we're not one family, because brothers and sisters fight in a family about different things. Even the Abafundi disciples, they argued about certain things, but that doesn't stop you from being the family that we need to be. It's when you go and you deny your family by attaching yourself to a family you don't belong to. This is the problem. You became a Gentile when you're not a Gentile. And then the Gentiles became you. That's a problem, because it says salvation is of the Yaounde or Yuda, or they say Jews, but it's by Yuda. Okay. In John 4, Yokana 4:22, salvation comes through the people of Umbana and Saka Yakubi, who must bear the spirit, the Mwana of the Most High in them and be attached to Kuswa Kongo, and must be in his shepherd and his sheepfold. Must be written in the book. Nobody can just tell you written in the book. The Messiah himself will be the one to tell you written in the book. Okay, the Most High will tell you written in the book, because he is the one that's going to put you in there. You can't have a man tell you you're written in the book. No man can tell you that, because no man can put you in the book. Only the Most High can. Only the Tata nZambi Mpungu, only the Most High can put you in the book when it comes to who gets in and who doesn't, who he wants in his kingdom and who he doesn't. And he trusts the decision making of the nZambi, Kuswa Kongo, Isaiah. So that's why you get in. That's why he's telling people, hey, this, when he goes, he said, not everybody who says Lord, Lord, it's really informal. That's why he said, not everybody who calls upon him will get in. He said, depart, did not cast out, did not do all these different things. I don't know you. Why would he say that if you did these things? Because what was it really about for you? This is the issue that people don't understand. Who really do you represent in this earth. Because many people don't know you're representing Tammuz, not the real one. You're representing the shepherd God, not the real shepherd. Okay, that's the issue. All right, so I want to say hallelujah. Kemo na nZambi. The Maleki Congo. I'm telling y'all, and I'm sure we all know this, and I'm hoping to be prepared myself. It's getting down to now where we see that everything is collapsing around you. It's like, you know, it's like people are sitting in the path of a massive tidal wave. Now it's coming, but most people won't realize it until it hits them at the last minute. This is exactly what is going on right now. You're in the middle of a massive tidal wave that is bringing down a system that you have believed in for generations. And the tidal wave is on its way, but they're not going to let you know it until it hits you when everything comes to an end. Okay. And this is how deceptive these things go, because you must not be aware of it. Just like the Most High said, you won't be aware of it if you're sleeping. And sleeping means you're carnal minded and not spiritual minded. You're not in the spirit as you think you are, but you're in the carnality. So you're asleep, you're dead. You have to be in spirit and in truth to be awake, to be prepared. This is how people don't understand. You've been deceived. You think you're in the spirit of the Most High and you're in the spirit of Lucifer, masquerading. And you don't see that now there's a tidal wave coming that hits you because you believe something that wasn't true, because you didn't test every spirit. It's kind of like when I was telling my wife again, I said, when most people see angels, who really has the discernment to encounter one and actually want to ask that one to test his spirit? Are you from the Most High? You're going to be mesmerized by the fact that you even see an angel in the first place. That's how Satan deceives. It's like, wait a minute, I'm looking at an angel right now. How can, what? Oh my gosh, it's an angel. That's the response that he's looking for. You're not going to question it. You're just going to be shocked that he's standing there. Okay. That's the whole purpose of the deception. You're not going to test every spirit of the Most High if you're awestruck by the encounter. Okay. Like I always said, you got a good angel and a bad angel standing next to each other. Both of them look like malekis to you, like angels. How do you know which one is the bad one? This is where you need the discernment of the Holy Spirit to tell you what to say, so that the angel that is legitimate will actually do what he's supposed to do when he hears certain things being said. And the other one will flee because he like, I don't, first of all, you'll know what's supposed to be said to worship the Most High. The fallen angel won't worship the Most High anymore. The real one will. That's it. You'll say certain words and he'll say all praises to, he'll say something like, oh, we give Congo to, something, whatever. That other angel won't say it. Oh, I'm caught, because they don't praise him anymore. They curse him. All right. So I'll just say Zola Quingi, Nsambulolo, Santisana, Dumalang, and just continue to be watchful of the times and the seasons, and understand, if you don't realize it, that you're contributing to the ongoing family feud of the division of the Most High's chosen, you're going to have a problem with that. And those that don't even know they're in a family feud, or they're part, or they want to continue to think that they're not in a family feud, that's on them. They continue. I mean, look at how they, even in this city alone, how we treat it. How they really truly treat each other. Okay. the way people interact in general in cities alone. Okay, it's always about the fear of those around me and making sure I only trust those that I know. Well, that's the issue. In spirituality, you know who you can trust and who you can't trust. You don't have to live in fear of that. That's the difference. The Most High will be like, in true spirituality, the true Holy Spirit, you'll know who you can trust and who you can't trust in this walk. You won't have to live in fear of who you can and can't trust. You don't have to live in concern of who you can and can't trust. The Spirit will reveal to you who you can and can't trust. That's why you ask, who are those around me that I can truly trust? Tata nZambi, who is for me and who is against me? Who's for you and who's against you? Then you know, this is how you understand if they come with the family of Esau spirit or the fallen angel spirit, or if they come with the Most High. That's why we even had this argument about forgiveness. This is a big one here. The Most High has said that those who do the works of evil and live in the works of evil, okay, do not forgive those who are doing paganism, or, witchcraft, all these different things, and living in. That's why it says, being not unequally with unbelievers. It even says in the New Testament, rebuke those who refuse to turn away from their wicked ways until they decide to return back. Then you receive them. Do you not understand the way of forgiveness? You have forgiveness in your heart. You don't have hatred or malice, but forgiveness comes with the fact that this person you're forgiving must not already be on the side of Lucifer, whether knowing or unknowing. The people who return to the Creator and truly have repentance are the ones that are looking for the forgiveness. Because you have people asking for forgiveness and they're not with the Father. They are not even in the sheepfold of the Messiah. They're not even in anything affiliated with this. They are with the fallen angels. But I mean, you look for them, if the Father to seek, that you have, that's why you do this, the prayer of Davidi. The Most High, you bring destruction to those who wish ill upon me, but at the same time, spare those who do not seek my, you know. But in the case of Isolele, the repentance was really um, for Isolele, the Bana Betu is who you're looking for. That's why, you know, one of the people don't even know is that is the way the slave master even used that deception over slaves. Okay, you're gonna forgive the guy that's whipping the he's whipping you like crazy. Oh, I forgive you, master, for whipping me. Wait a minute. Okay. But he hasn't turned from his wicked way. What is he? He has to turn from his wicked way. He didn't turn. He just continued to jack you up, buck break you, rape the wife, rape the wives, sell your kids, all the different things. So the reality is, this is why they continue to get away with the stuff they keep doing over and over and over. Because they know, oh, you'll just forgive us, but then we'll come back and do it again. Now, of course, you say, oh, Isaiah says 70 times 7. Yes, you must have that kind of forgiveness. I'm not saying you don't, but the problem is, okay, these people were never truly your brothers until they reject the world. That is what the Most High said. He said, That's why he told them, don't even worry about the Pharisees and Sadducees. They have their reward. Did Yesiah forgive the Pharisees and the Sadducees? Ask this question. Did Kuswa Kongo, did so-called Jesus Christ, did he forgive the Pharisees and the Sadducees for the stuff they were saying? Or what did he say? They will have their reward. He said, don't even deal with them. That is the problem. Let them get their reward. You keep moving and you just be you. He said, if they reject you, keep on walking. That's the issue here, people. Oh, Jesus loved everybody. Really? What did he say about the Pharisees and God loves everybody? What did he tell the people about the Pharisees? He said, you are of your father, the devil. That's what he said. And the works of him, your father, you will do, for he was a murderer from the beginning. Did that sound like a forgiveness speech to you? What did he tell them? You are of your father, the devil. He didn't forgive those people. He said, you're of the devil. Do you understand how people can be brainwashed and conditioned so that you don't see what the enemy's doing to you? That's the issue. It's not about having animosity or hatred. It's about realizing these people must turn and repent to be brought into the sheepfold and return to the most. This is what it's about. But it doesn't happen that if they don't come through you. You are the way to the Most High with Kuswa Kongo. He just said that. My people, Isolele, are the way through me, to me, and to the Father. Okay? Those who know him as the children of Isolele, those people who are connected to him, you go through through them. You go through them to get to the Father. Because see, why does he say that? Because I will be with them. I will be there automatically. If these people are with me, you will get through them to me because I will be there automatically. They will be in me. They will be part of me. That is the point. And you will represent him on earth. Like he said, you must be the representation of the things that he has done. And this is where people have been lied to because they don't ever witness. I mean, who's really seeing true miracles from any pastor that they listen to every Sunday? True miraculous things, make the blind walk. People forget Luke was a physician, and yet he could perform miracles that Kuswa Kongo was showing him, that Paula was showing him, really, because he wasn't with the Messiah. Okay, he was with Paul. Okay, that's the thing. You and everybody else must know this, that the carnal way of the world will never open the door to the real truth, ever. If carnality will not get you there, trust me, I can relate with many of us who are, especially many of us who can say, when we had a more carnal-minded mentality, there were many blockages to the real truth that now you see things that other people can't see, and they think you're crazy because they don't realize they were never there. Okay, they just thought they were. All right. You know, like I said, back to people being nice. I'm like, hey, that's great that people want to be nice, but that doesn't mean, hey, Muslims can be nice to you, but you, of course, or even a Buddhist, does that mean that they're going to get into the true kingdom of the Most High? Doesn't mean it. You can run into a Jewish guy that could be nice to you. Doesn't believe in Kuswa Kongo at all. Isaiah. Does that mean the most does he have the morning velala? Does he have the spirit? People don't understand that. Anyway, Zola Quingi, Nsambololo, and where's a Kuswa Kongo, Yave Kongo Twala.